The first, false superiority classification. False superiority is when your ego convinces you that you are already ahead, better, or more capable than others even without real proof or results. It creates a mindset where you overestimate your abilities and underestimate the effort needed to truly grow. You start believing you've made it before actually putting in the work. This mindset is dangerous because it stops progress. When you think you're already good enough, you stop learning, stop improving, and stop listening. Instead of building real competence, you rely on illusion. Over time, reality exposes the gap between what you believe and what you actually are, leading to failure, frustration, and stagnation. The moment you think you're better than everyone is the moment you stop becoming better. Next step, fear of looking weak classification. This classification is driven by ego's obsession with image. You avoid anything that might make you look inexperienced, unskilled, or vulnerable in front of others. Instead of focusing on growth, you focus on protecting how people see you. You stay silent when you should ask questions. You don't try new things because you might fail. You avoid challenges, not because they're impossible, but because they might expose your weaknesses. Ego tells you, don't look stupid. Don't fail. Don't let them see you struggle. So you choose comfort over growth. You choose appearance over progress. The problem is, every expert was once a beginner, but your ego refuses to let you go through that stage. You want the image of success without the process of becoming successful. This mindset quietly destroys your potential. Growth requires discomfort, mistakes, and learning through failure. But when you fear looking weak, you remove yourself from the very situations that make you stronger. You miss opportunities. You avoid feedback. You delay action. And in trying to protect your image, you actually become weaker over time. What's worse is that this fear creates a cycle. You don't try, give, so you don't improve. You don't improve, give, so you feel more insecure. You feel insecure, give, so you avoid trying even more. In the end, your ego doesn't protect you, it traps you. You're not afraid of failure, you're afraid of people seeing you fail. Third step, validation addiction classification. Validation addiction happens when your actions are no longer driven by purpose, growth, or personal standards, but by the need for approval from others. Your ego becomes dependent on external reactions, likes, views, praise, attention, recognition. Instead of asking, is this meaningful, you start asking, will people like this? You begin to perform instead of build. You chase applause instead of progress. At first, it feels rewarding. Every compliment boosts your confidence. But over time, your self-worth becomes tied to other people's opinions. When validation is high, you feel powerful. When it's low, you feel insecure, lost, and unmotivated. This creates a dangerous shift. You stop being authentic and start being acceptable. The problem with validation addiction is that it gives control of your life to other people. Your direction, decisions, and even your identity become shaped by what gets approval, not what actually matters. This leads to shallow growth. You may look successful on the outside, but internally you lack real skill, discipline, and purpose. Because instead of focusing on long-term improvement, you focus on short-term attention. It also makes you fragile. Criticism hits harder. Silence feels like failure, and without constant validation, your motivation disappears. In the long run, this mindset keeps you stuck. You chase attention instead of mastery. You depend on praise instead of discipline. You follow trends instead of building something real. Ego convinces you that being seen is the same as being successful, but they are not the same. If you need their approval to move, you'll never move on your own. Fourth step, resistance to feedback classification. Resistance to feedback happens when your ego treats correction as an attack instead of an opportunity. Instead of listening to improve, you react to defend yourself. You take advice personally, reject criticism quickly, and protect your current self instead of building a better one. When someone points out your mistake, ego immediately responds, "They don't understand me. I'm already doing it right. Who are they to tell me?" Because of this, you stop seeing feedback as information and start seeing it as disrespect. Over time, you surround yourself with comfort instead of truth. You only accept opinions that agree with you and ignore anything that challenges you. You become closed, defensive, and blind to your own weaknesses. Feedback is one of the fastest ways to grow because it shows you what you can't see on your own. But when your ego blocks it, you lose that advantage. You repeat the same mistakes. You stay stuck at the same level. You improve slower than those who are willing to listen. What makes this dangerous is that you don't even realize you're the problem. You think you're progressing, but in reality, you're just reinforcing your limitations. This creates stagnation. No feedback gives no awareness. No awareness gives no improvement. No improvement gives no real progress. Meanwhile, people who accept criticism even when it hurts gain insight, adapt faster, and grow stronger. Ego wants to be right, but growth requires you to be wrong and learn from it. If you can't take feedback, you can't take growth. Final step: self-sabotage through pride classification. Self-sabotage through pride happens when your ego values being right more than being successful. You hold on to decisions, beliefs, or actions even when they're clearly wrong just to protect your pride instead of adjusting. You double down. Instead of admitting mistakes, you defend them. Ego tells you, don't apologize, don't change, don't let them win. So you continue down the wrong path, not because it's correct, but because turning back would hurt your image. You ignore warning signs. You reject help. You avoid accountability. And slowly, you start making choices that go against your own progress just to maintain a sense of control or superiority. This is one of the most destructive forms of ego because it actively works against your own success. Pride makes you protect the very things that are hurting you. Instead of fixing problems early, you let them grow. Instead of learning, you resist. Instead of evolving, you stay stuck. Over time, the consequences become bigger. Opportunities are lost because you refuse to adapt. Relationships break because you refuse to admit fault. Progress stops because you refuse to change direction. The hardest part is that the solution is simple but painful: humility. Admitting you're wrong feels like losing in the moment, but it's actually the only way to win in the long run. People who succeed are not the ones who are always right. They are the ones who are willing to correct themselves quickly. Ego delays that correction. Pride blocks it completely. Your pride will keep you losing just so you don't have to admit you were wrong.